And a good evening, everybody, and welcome to a special episode of Cape Coral Talk Radio. We are starting a new program. It's called, it's going to be called Mondays with the Mayor, but our first show is on Tuesday because of some travel. It's December, so there's a lot of holiday stuff going on. And our goal with this show is similar to the goal with the Friday show, and that's to get as much information out about what's going on in the city of Cape Coral as we can. And joining us on episode number 1 right now is Mayor John Gunter. Mayor, can you hear okay? Hope we can hear. He can hear us loud and clear. Mayor, can you hear? All righty. I think we can see him. Not sure we can hear, so we might have to delay this for another 1 minute. Stand by, everybody. All right, everybody, just stand by for 1 minute. We're trying to get the mayor onto a different computer, and then we'll ask the questions right after he gets all set up. We are broadcasting remotely. We usually do our show on Friday night from Hooked Island Grill, and this Friday, by the way, we will have Councilmember Lori Lehman on the show. And then next Friday, we will have Lee County Commissioner Brian Hammond on the show. And then we'll take a break for the holidays. So, and of course, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box if we can get the mayor live. And we're hoping that there we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. I got you. Sorry about the technical difficulties.
We should have thought about, there's a lot of security, rightly so. There's a lot of security on the computers in City Hall. So appreciate you coming on. A lot of stuff going on City Hall. And the first thing I wanted to ask you about was you had a big event a couple of weekends ago to kind of kick off the holiday season. It was a huge turnout at City Hall. Talk about how that event went and what it means to the community.
Yeah, it's a great event. We started putting that on about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's grown each and every year. We've added the drone show the following night after the Christmas tree lighting. Actually, that got more people out than the Christmas tree lighting. So it's a great event that we put on each year, and it grows more and more each year. So it's glad to see a bunch of families come out and enjoy the kickoff of the holiday season.
And there was another event this past weekend. I know you were traveling, or you probably would have been there, but the Festival of Lights, the Chamber of Commerce puts on a big event. You close off the streets, and thousands and thousands of people to watch the tree lighting downtown, and another great event for the community.
Oh, yeah. That particular event's been going on for many years. And typically I'm there each year. Like you said, thousands of people come out. We close down Cape Coral Parkway. A lot of different vendors there. Santa Claus is there. So again, that's another great event so the community can come out together and kick off the holiday season down in that section of our city.
So a busy week for the city council this week. Tomorrow you have 2 meetings. You have one at 1 o'clock and one at 4 o'clock. And the 1 o'clock meeting is a special meeting, and you'll review the Charter Commission recommendation. Is there anything on there that you think stands out, or anything on there that you think will go on the ballot, or is there anything that you can talk about?
Yeah, I think what we'll be doing tomorrow is basically formalizing, because it's a special meeting. It's a voting meeting. The last time City Council had a discussion, we had it at a committee of the whole. So that was more of an informative discussion. But actually in tomorrow's meeting, we could actually have motions and have a vote on any particular item involving the charter review's recommendations, what we may decide as a council to put on for the upcoming election for a ballot referendum. So tomorrow, I think, is the time that we'll go down that list again tomorrow and weigh in as a council collectively, and there could be some motions on what we move forward to give the city attorney direction on how to craft a referendum that we'll put on the ballot.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to see the charter review, the charter commission recommendations, they can look at the agenda. The information's available for the public to look at. And of course, one of the items on there is a pay increase that the charter commission came up with. How do you think that's going to play tomorrow?
I think that's going to be a good discussion. This surely gives the community, the public, the voting register out there in Cape Coral the opportunity to weigh in on that topic if we decide to move that forward. The Charter Review Commission had a discussion regarding what they felt the pay was, and they come up with a recommendation. So we could either stick with the recommendation, change it, reduce it, increase it. That's city council will have that discussion tomorrow to see if that's something that we want to move forward or not.
And so everybody understands, tomorrow is not a vote and then things are enacted. Tomorrow is when the council will decide whether or not they want the attorney to draft something that would be legally able to be put on the referendum in 2026, or you could decide to trash them all. The council can decide that none of these recommendations are worth putting on the ballot. Isn't that how the process will work going forward?
Yeah, I think tomorrow will be a little more in-depth discussion, more so than what we had in our committee of the whole, and see if we want to move a particular item forward to the city attorney's office, and if so, how we want to see that structured. Give our city attorney the recommendation as a collective council, and then at some point he will bring that back. So, like you said, this isn't going to be something that we're going to move forward tomorrow, vote on it, it's a done deal. This is basically will be steps that we will need to take before we put this out for a referendum on any of the topics, or city council themselves can bring additional topics forward tomorrow as well. That's what this meeting's about. City staff can make any other recommendations that they feel. So I think tomorrow will basically just be giving the city attorney direction on how to move forward and what to bring back to us in a referendum style form that we can take a look at and vote on.
And so everybody understands, whatever the changes might or might not be made to the charter will go on a referendum, and it'll be in 2026. If there's anything that the council decides to move forward, it'll be up to the voters to decide whether or not they want to make those changes next year.
Exactly. And, it pretty much, once we put it out as a referendum, it's in their hands how they vote will determine if any of those items move forward or not.
The second thing I wanted to ask you about, and folks, that's a 1 o'clock special meeting, and then there's a 4 o'clock regular meeting tomorrow. And one of the agenda items tomorrow is J.C. Park, and it looks like there's going to be a discussion tomorrow about the bistro and the concessionaire stand. Can you give a brief history of what happened with the original contract that you signed with the company that was supposed to put in some money for this? And
yeah,
why
there was another private public partnership that we were trying to enter into, and it's called the Reef was the name of the business, and they basically had to put up about $1.3 million, if I recall correctly, to enter into this an agreement. They work with staff in the city attorney's office, and they come up with an agreement. Unfortunately, towards the end of the discussion, they decided to pull out and not sign the agreement. We elected at that time, we had not completely finished with the design of J.C. Park, but the council elected to keep moving forward with that bistro concept. And as a result, that's where we find ourselves here today. Um, I think they need about another $216,000 over and above what was budgeted to basically finish the exterior of the building. So it's a shell, not, the outside will be completed, uh, and the inside will be unfinished. And probably what we're gonna maybe do as a council is, and this is why we're having that discussion tomorrow, is, do we want to put out another RFP to bring somebody, a different company on board, not only to help offset the expense for this particular structure. This is what I'm going to recommend, that if we can issue a RFP to see if there's someone out there. It looks like we'll have about $1 million in this structure,
Mhm.
800 to a million in this structure, to bring somebody else for a P3 agreement that will offset that expense that we've already expended, the almost 800 to $1 million, and then they can finish off the interior of the building as well. And so we're just hoping to get, I think, another company to come in and that would be interested in, and it's very similar to concept that we already have here in Cape Coral in the private sector. This will be 6 food trucks. The pads are there already today. They've already put in the infrastructure for the water, the sewer, electric for the food trucks. We have the building here, that we're talking about tomorrow. So that's pretty much where we're at. I think trying to get back, for me, I'm trying to get back to where we were with the reef, to get someone else to pay for the structure, pay for the improvements, and then we could have a profit sharing agreement with them, where very similar to the boathouse down at the yacht club, where
Mhm.
we'll actually generate some revenue as well to help offset the expense of JC Park.
So the additional money to finish the building and the roof, and it looked like the change order might be up to 1.2 or 1.4 million dollars. Is that money that's already in the budget, or where would that money come from to finish that building?
Yeah, the 1.3, 1.4 is for the structure to be 100% completed inside and out.
Mhm.
One of the other options is we just finished the shell of the structure and the exterior of the structure, which is going to take about another 216,000 over what we've already budgeted. So
Mhm.
that's what the budget amendment would be. That's what I'm going to recommend that we do. Leave the interior of the structure unfinished, where it's their responsibility to do those modifications, but also to pay us back for what we built and spent in the shell so that's going to be my recommendation. But again, we make our decisions as a collective council, and we'll see where that kind of shakes out tomorrow.
So the goal is to eventually try and make this a break even, budget wise, if at all possible, down by the time it's all over with.
Yeah, I think what my goal is for the cost of the structure, whether it's the whole structure and the interior modifications, if we make them do that, where they repay the city for what that expense is, which is about the 1.3, $1.4 million total that you mentioned. And that's what the reef was going to do in their agreement, and try to get that same type of an agreement with someone else. That way we're net zero with that particular
Mhm.
cost for that structure within JC Park. But then we also have the profit sharing each year thereafter that will actually be generating a revenue. So, that's what my ultimate goal is.
Was the reef the only bid on that project, or were there other ones that might be interested in becoming a partner with the city now?
Yeah, that was an unsolicited bid that came forward, that, we went through the process of how that statute and those requirements are, was unsolicited bid. So if we go out with a new RFP, we'll be able to define exactly what we're looking for. When the original project came forward, that was an unsolicited bid that they kind of dictated the parameters. We worked with them a little bit and came up with an agreement. But with an RFP, you can be a little more defined on exactly what you want and what you're looking for.
And when would you like to see something in that spot open to the public? What's the goal?
Yeah, well, the contractor has until April to finish that particular project. And I think that's why the city managers brought this forward now. I mean, we need to make a decision tomorrow night on exactly what we want to do. Do we just want to finish the shell?
Mhm.
Uh, do we want, I think that's in the best interest. That way, all the construction on the outside is completed and done, and then get them to pay us back for what we've spent in the shell, and then let them do the interior finishes. So timeline, sooner rather than later. Ideally, it would be great to have this all done before the project is completed. If we do the shell, I know we can have that all completed before April. So it's just up to whoever the private public partner is that we bring on board, how long it's going to take them to get the interior modifications completed.
All righty, and that's at the 4 o'clock meeting, folks, tomorrow. Just if you're keeping track at home, the 1 o'clock meeting is for the charter review, and the 4 o'clock meeting is the regular meeting. And then you guys are done for the month, right? Taking a few weeks off.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other events that I know I got scheduled, even though we're on hiatus. We're still working, and
Right.
we still have different events and different things that we're doing. We just don't have any public meetings.
And by the way, there was an event Monday, unveiling of a manatee. The Cape Coral Friends of the Wildlife unveiled a manatee. Councilmember Kilrain was there, and that's I forget the name of the park. There's so many parks in Cape Coral.
Sorrento Vista Park.
Yeah, that park was way out there. I mean, that was a drive and a half from where we are, but that was a nice event, and that's a lovely little park you have out there. So another event earlier this week. So last meeting you were at, you mentioned we were all at. You mentioned there was a $6.5 million grant from Governor DeSantis. Can you tell us how that whole thing came about and how that's going to be applied to the upcoming project?
Yeah, I mean, we had submitted for 3 separate grants on water resource grants with the state. One was about 8.4, one was about 8.5 million, and the other one was 1.2 million. So it's total about $18.5 million in grants that we had requested or applied for. There were 40 individuals or municipalities that submitted for those grants. 36 of the grants were eligible grants where they met the criteria. We had 3 of the 36. So out of those particular grants, 1 of the 3 for reclaimed water for UEP, the new UEP project that's coming on board. We had asked for 8.5. The state had awarded 6.5. So we got a little less than what we had asked for, but at least we were a recipient to get some type of water resource grant. So right now, staff will have to, go back, and again, it's just for the reclaimed water. So it's for contracts 7 through 11. So we're going to have to go back and look at contracts 7 through 11, see how we can apply this grant to those particular contracts, and see what type of a reduction that it may pass on, to the homeowner.
But there will be some kind of a little bit of a break for the folks that are paying that big chunk.
Yeah, they'll apply that accordingly. Just to give you an example of a previous, we got a $25 million grant 2 years from Department of Economic Opportunity for the UEP project that we were doing at that time. That $25 million grant was applied to that particular UEP. It saved each homeowner about $4,000 for their hookup fees. So that was based on the 25 million. So I'm just trying to put it into reference. This is a $6.5 million grant, so it won't be as substantial as this 25 million, but that's every little bit helps. I know when it comes to the cost for the residents to put out for the utility hookups.
Do you think there are more grants available as you move along here? I know I've heard from many different people that the state is going to be a little more stingy with the amount of money they send down to the municipalities. Have you heard the same thing? And are there other grants available somehow?
Yeah, we've heard the same thing, across the board, not just with water resource type grants. That this legislative session that they're going to be probably not awarding as many state appropriations. We've been extremely, extremely fortunate over the last 7, 8 years that I've been here. A couple years ago, we got $17 million in state appropriations. I will tell you, last year we got 6.5 million in state appropriations, and we got the second highest award at any one particular municipality here in the state. So we got a great lobbying firms that we have working for the state. Myself, other council members, we go up to Tallahassee to advocate for those dollars. So we've been extremely fortunate over the last few years. But I will tell you, I've heard that that there probably won't be as many state appropriations in the next couple of years.
All right. Next topic I wanted to ask you about was the kerfuffle with the CCCIA and the city manager that led to some kind of a state audit that's coming down the pike. What are your thoughts on all that, and any new information on that you can share?
Yeah, as far as new information, it's pretty much the state, that particular audit committee voted to, to hear the case basically. So at some point that'll go before them. I know that probably after the first of the year, I heard that there will be representatives from the state to come down here to the city that'll probably be requesting some information and some documentation that will provide whatever they need in order for them to do the audit. I will say that our internal auditor that works for the city council, and I think that's important to mention, is we do have an internal city auditor. Does not work for the city manager or the city attorney. She works directly, or whomever it is, it's a she now, works directly for the city council. They did a similar audit a few years ago and made some recommendations, and we adhered to those and applied those recommendations. So I personally, I welcome outside independent organization if they want to come in and take a look at what we're doing and see if they have any recommendations, or to take a look at and audit the building fund or any other department. As far as I'm concerned, I'm open with that, and I think it's important to be as transparent as possible. And if there was a complaint made, and they took the complaint up, so I welcome the audit.
Are you worried at all that there is any funding being misused in the building department?
City staff has went back since this went through our state legislation. Our representative Michael G. Lobardo's, who brought this up, took it to the committee to get them to do this audit. And I know that city staff has since went back, reviewed the audit that we did a few years ago, looked at all the financial documentation that they have now. They're telling us that they were pretty confident that we'll be in compliance, and that now that we're in compliance and we did the recommendations from our internal auditor, so we should be fine. But we'll see where it all shakes out.
Was the city given fair notice by the state, or does that not even really matter?
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't something that someone come to the city. I mean, the Cape Coral construction industry reached out to our state representative, Representative G. Labarda, and they filed a complaint, provided I believe about 155 to 160 page document. He reviewed it along with Senator Martin, I believe, and Mike, our state representative, Mike Gilabardo, he took it before the audit committee, and they recommend to move it forward. So that's how that process pretty much went down. It's not like we were involved in it, and I think that was one of the concerns that the city manager had was that they didn't reach out to say that they were interested in doing the audit.
Gotcha. So let's talk about the flag. For a little bit, the 250-foot flag that the city manager started this campaign and a fundraiser. And I think it seems like everybody loves the United States flag. $500,000 is a lot of money to raise, especially during the time of the year when a lot of 501c3s are out there raising money. Do you know how I haven't checked in the last few days. Do you know how the campaign is coming along as of today?
No, I don't. The last I'd heard, we were a little over $60,000
Okay.
Total, but I don't know what we are exactly today.
When I was leaving Cape Coral yesterday after the manatee presentation, I did see a billboard with it on that. Is that are those ads being paid for by the city? The billboard ads?
Now, I don't think they are being paid for. We have an agreement with
Like a trade?
Yeah, we're allowed so much space on the billboard
Gotcha.
each and every year, and I think they're utilizing some of that free space to advertise.
Makes sense. So one of the questions that comes up is, let's say that the whole $500,000 isn't raised. Is there like a system in place to return the money, or what happens to partial money, or is there a backup plan to make sure it does happen? What happens with those funds that have been donated already?
Yeah, I don't think we've really had that discussion as a council. I'll tell you how my position on it is. I will tell you that right now, the city put out a request for a proposal to get a cost of exactly what the 250-foot flagpole installed would cost. That RFP is due on December 15th. So sometime after that, the city will take a look at the bids and make a determination who the lowest bidder is. So at that point, we'll see exactly what it's going to cost. I do know that I had heard originally, I believe our city manager had reached out to a few of these companies, and it was somewhere between the $300,000 to $350,000 range, the cost. I think the $500,000 cost was maybe for some of the ancillary improvements, but some of those have been donated as well. Whether it's pavers or some of the concrete work or landscaping, some of this lighting, some of those things have already been donated. So I think that what we'll have to determine is exactly what that cost is and see if we are able to get there. And then of course, we're on a timeline. I think his goal is to get this done by July. So that tells me we got to make a determination here by probably April or May. And see where the funding is. The direction that city council gave the city manager when he brought this forward was a great idea. I support the idea, and that but we weren't willing to use taxpayer dollars to fund it. So that's when he decided to come up with a campaign to raise money. For me personally, if we fall short, I think we have a couple options. One option could be, instead of putting up a 250-foot flag, how much have we raised and what size flag can we put up with that money? So that could be an option, but that'll have to come back to council probably. That's one recommendation. The other recommendation is if you want to extend that, say you don't make the July deadline, you want to maybe extend that for another year to be able to raise additional monies. I think that's an option on the table. Would it be great to have it done by July for the 250th anniversary? Yes, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. And then the other thing is, if we decide not to move forward with it, what do you do with the money that you collected? For me, I would advocate that if we're not going to do the project at all, and that we didn't meet the criteria and the deadline that we set, that you have to do 100% reimbursement back to the individuals or the corporations that donated the money. That would be my recommendation. But hopefully, hopefully we're able to raise that money. But if we're a month into this and we got 60, 70,000 now, and we need 300 and some thousand, at best, we're only about 20% of the way there. So we got some more work to do.
Lastly, is there any chance in your mind that the taxpayers cover the balance?
I can tell you my vote would be no. And what I had heard our council in the original meeting, it didn't sound like it. One thing that, I think that could happen out there is, hey, we only come up with 150, and then city manager comes back to the council and asks, hey, it's 150, but it costs 300. Can we foot the bill for the remaining balance? I know my vote will be no on that, but I can't speak for the rest of council.
Gotcha. So one thing that came up that kind of got glossed over by everybody covering the city council at the last meeting was that I didn't see it anyway, it was that somehow you guys went from 5 ambulances to 11 ambulances, and that seemed like it was a pretty big deal and something important for the residents to know. What happened there? How'd you guys do that?
Yeah, back about I guess it's probably been about 3.5 years ago. I've always been a strong advocate for public safety. And two of the things back then that I was looking at is we have what is known as rescue units here in the city. And then also we have our EMS, our ambulances here in the city that's run by the county. About 3.5 years ago, we at that time had 11 fire stations. And we only had 5 ambulances assigned to the city. And it's sometimes, even though we had 5 ambulances in the city, we had what was called blackout periods, where we would actually have less than 5 ambulances. So I was a strong advocate. I went myself, the city manager at the time, I had set up a meeting with Commissioner Ruane and the county manager. And, when you look at the data, and I had the data at the time showing what the population was and what we should have here for ambulance service, we weren't meeting that criteria. So I advocated to try to get additional units here in the city. One of the things that we looked at is, I know one of the issues that the county was having is where to put them. When they were here. So what we did was we come up with an agreement that we could put those particular ambulances in our firehouses at a minimal expense to the county. And I think that was a game changer. It saved them money, and we were able to increase the amount of ambulances that we have. I can tell you today we have 11. Mm-hmm. So the county's really stepped up. We worked through an agreement with them, and we're able to bring more ambulances. So we have about 11 ambulances here in the city now. So we went from 5 to 11. We've over doubled in 3.5 years. So I think that was a great improvement for medical response here in our city.
Yeah, I imagine with 11, it cuts down on the response time when you get a call.
Yeah, and we also, we have 10 rescue units now. So the goal is to have a rescue unit and an EMS ambulance in every firehouse. So right now we have 11 ambulances, 10 rescue units. One of the other things that we implemented during that time is we used to have a 3-man firehouse, mm-hmm. And we decided to go to a 4-man firehouse. And the reason for that is, if you looked at the National Fire Protection Agency, what their recommendation was, it was to have a 4-member fire personnel for every firehouse. And then what we did was we added a 5th as well if it was a rescue unit. So that way you have 2 individuals on a rescue unit, 3 on a fire. But if it's a structure fire, that particular firehouse, the fire truck and the rescue unit would respond to any type of a fire. So you would have 5-member responding from one firehouse. So that all we've done all that in the last 3.5 years.
Gotcha. So I wanted to circle back. One more question. Do you feel comfortable about the timeline for JC Park and what's going on with getting that project done to the city's satisfaction?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I checked on that today, and they're on schedule to be completed. Contractually, they have till about the middle of April, and they're pretty certain that they'll be able to finish that. I think that's why it's so important to make that decision tomorrow on the structure of the bistro, because we would like to still have that done, by April as well. So we need to we got to get that decision made, how we're moving forward. But everything else is moving along good. We got the first layer of asphalt down there. I know we're doing stucco on a lot of our structures, or our bathrooms. We got sidewalks, boardwalks that are completed. We're planting trees, so we're moving along. It's looking great down there.
The city has had 2 meetings, public meetings on the golf course already. What would you like to see at the golf course?
175 acres, back in 2017 when I ran originally, that was a hot topic when we were running that year. And, a lot of people either wanted to keep it some type of green space or recreational area. And then there were some people that wanted to develop that property. I'm 100% for keeping it green space and recreational area. 175 acres, I think we could quadrant that park off and make it many different amenities, many different things when it comes to recreational or green space. So that's kind of where I'm at personally on that project. I made that commitment back in 2017. I, throughout the years, continued with that commitment. And today, moving forward, I will continue with that same type of an approach. I think that could be the central park of our city. And I think it's going to be later on. I think we still have some time here. We're going to have this discussion probably at least for the next year on what we're going to do there, how we're going to do it. But let's don't forget, we have some environmental remediation that we need to address.
Right.
We got to that has to be done first. So just because we come up with a plan, say in the next year, the precedent is going to do the environmental remediation first before we can move forward with anything.
Is there I haven't been on the entire golf course. Is there any chance that any piece of that, with only 9% commercial, is there any chance any part of that could be commercial down the road, or is it just they're just houses around the entire golf course?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what your definition of commercial. I'll give you an example. Say you want to put some Waltzing Waters was a big event here many years ago. If you want to put an event down there like that, where it promotes tourism, people can go down and see that, some type of some other type of an event like that, where I still think it's green space, and I still think it recreational style, or some type of where tourism where you bring people together. If you're talking about a commercial, or you're talking about retail, or you're talking about some other type of a town center or something like that, I wouldn't support that myself. But that'll be a council decision.
Gotcha. So the other big piece of property you're dealing with is the yacht club. Is there any update from that on the Army Corps of Engineers and where that whole thing stands today?
Yeah, we just got an update on all of our Army Corps permits. Unfortunately, because the federal government was shut down for about 43 days, nothing at all happened during that time period. So most of the updates that we just received with the Army Corps permits is, hey, we're back open for business and things are back up now. So they'll start moving back forward through the process. So really, if, over the last 45, 50 days, not
Nothing.
much of a change because of the government shutdown. We probably won't see any further um, any further action with those permits, and probably until next month, because we've been getting monthly updates. So we probably won't even see the needle move at all until next month when we get those
So,
updates.
so in the perfect world, when is that pier going to be rebuilt?
We're hoping sometime the middle of the latter of next year that we can get that permit.
Get the permits, and then construction would be after that.
Yeah, what most people don't understand with Army Corps and Florida Department of Environmental Protection permits, basically what we do is give them a scope of work, what we're looking to do. It's not a real defined scope of work, but it does set some parameters. Hey, this is what we want to do. They take a look at that going through the permit process, just like they did at the yacht club, and they make recommendations. So we may say that we're doing X, Y, and Z. They may come along and say, yeah, X, Y, and Z is great, but we want you to do A, B, and C as well. So that's the permit process. So then once we get the permit and we know exactly what the scope of work is, then we can get a RFP together and put that information out there and go through that process to get the bids. And then once we receive the bids, take a look at the bids, see who the best bidder is, the lowest cost, what type of experience they have, and then we'll go ahead, issue the bid, and then they have so many days to do the project. So it's not something that, hey, we got the permit and we start the next day. That basically just takes us to the next phase.
Are you guys putting back what you had there before for the most part? And is that all
Yeah.
going to be covered by FEMA money?
Yeah, that's mostly, we did apply for FEMA money or reimbursement for that particular project. We're pretty much going to put back exactly, what's there. One thing that we elected to do as a council, I believe last year, and we had this discussion, was, the pier, the wooden pier was completely washed away. The concrete structures, the piers, they were still standing, but we wanted to take a look at those. Some of those were damaged as well. Actually, we did some several years ago. We did some remediation, proactive remediation on some of the piers that were being deteriorated. So when we went and reevaluated it now, we felt it was in the best interest, even though we knew it was going to take a little longer, to take a step back and redo the structure as well. Why have a bad foundation and try to build, a structure on a bad foundation? We thought it was in the best interest. Hey, let's redo the foundation as well. That way we know this pier hopefully is going to last us for the next 30 years. So that's what we did.
And lastly, on the yacht club, there the RFQs or RFPs for the PPPs we're supposed to be in progress and all that. Have you gotten any in yet?
No, I don't even know. I don't think I know procurement and staff was working on the RFIs that you were talking about. I think if they don't go out by the end of the month, hopefully, by the beginning
Okay.
of the year, we get those out there. But I know staff's still working on those RFIs.
And lastly, for tonight, what is going to be the biggest challenge for the city of Cape Coral in 2026?
The biggest challenge, I think, for us right now is the big unknown. And when I say that, it's the discussion this year at the state legislation when it comes to property taxes. There's 8 different scenarios, 8 different bills that have been introduced. And I think one of the things that, I've talked to several legislators, they don't even know what's really going to happen. And pretty much everybody I've talked to said probably those 8 bills won't pass the way they are. They'll be modified in some, form or another. And everybody I've talked to said there's probably going to be some type of referendum on the ballot So I think that's something that we're going to have to really take a look at. Now, of course, that'll either be in a primary or the general election. But when we start developing our budget in January, so I think really the challenge that we're going to have this year, for me is I think it's important. We got to see how we ended up in FY25. We got some
Mhm.
preliminary numbers, that I've been looking at. I know in some areas we've generated some extra revenue that we didn't anticipate, and we didn't spend as much money in our expenditure in some of our funds, and therefore there's a balance. So I'd like to see us really in the beginning of our budget discussions next month is I think we need to start off on how we ended FY25, before we really start talking about planning for FY27. So, I think the biggest challenge is, to make sure we're still providing the same level of service, knowing that there could be a change in revenue sources and revenue streams if something should happen to pass by a 60% referendum passage when it comes to property taxes. So I think every city is really looking at that right now, all
You me-
411 of them.
you mentioned extra revenue you didn't anticipate. Is that how much was it, and is that something the city manager has made public at a meeting already?
Well, those numbers are preliminary numbers. We did, staff did put out those preliminary numbers for our September FY25 performance evaluation. I can tell you that in our general fund, if I recall correctly, we brought in about $23.8 million more than anticipated, and we had about $9.4 million less than expenses. But again, I think it's important to mention this is preliminary numbers. We are still truing up those numbers. We do that in October, November, December. We'll probably have a little better understanding in January where we're going to be. Actually, normally we didn't see these numbers until April. This is something that the city council had asked staff to, hey, we want to see these numbers earlier, especially when we start talking about our budget for FY27. So I think it's important, that we had those numbers and, let them true the numbers up to see exactly, where we are. Between that and some special revenue, when you look at their revenue and expenses, we're up over $50 million more of monies than we anticipated. So that's a chunk of change. That's what the preliminary numbers now show. We'll see what it is in January. Hopefully we'll get those updated numbers when we start at the end of January with our budget discussions.
So, Mayor, just out of curiosity, how does the government miss that number by 25 or 50 million? I mean, how do you miss that revenue generation? It seems like that's a lot of money to not be able to calculate originally. Where did it come from?
Yeah, I mean, that's a host of different funds. When you talk about general fund, there's a multitude of funds in the general fund. When you look at our special revenue funds, the same thing. I can tell you, I remember one of the things in there, and I haven't really looked at it too closely yet, but it's one thing I want to look at. I think that we had brought in almost $8 or $9 million in fines and I don't know what that's for. Is that for? It could be a multitude of things. It could be. I'm guessing it's probably going to be for our speed light cameras.
Okay.
I'm sorry, for not our speed light cameras, our
School?
school zone cameras. So I'm guessing a majority of that additional revenue is going to be there. I haven't looked at that number that closely yet, but a $1.1 billion budget that we had almost in FY25. When you have additional revenues, I think it's important to see why you had it, to make sure you're forecasting properly, but also what can you use that monies for? You could use that monies for one-time expenses for something else that maybe we were going to put in the FY27 budget. Give you an example. In FY26, we're doing the drawings and for an additional firehouse that I know the fire chief wants to construct in FY27.
Hmm.
So if we have some additional monies that we've received in revenue that we weren't anticipating, firehouses, an average firehouse is, costing, around $6 million. Then we could take some of that money and apply it to build a firehouse. So there's some of the things that I'm going to personally look at.
So is that a number that is consistent every year? You always have this chunk of money at the end of the year because you don't know, not you, but the city doesn't really know how much money is going to come in this bucket and that bucket and code enforcement fines. Is that a normal number?
Yeah, I mean, every year it's we are very conservative with our budget policies and how we apply those numbers. So we're usually on the lower end because I would much rather be in this scenario than being $50 million in the hole.
Right.
But I think it's important when you have these type of additional revenues, or we didn't expend as much money as we thought we were. We have to look at that and see how we can apply it to the next year's budget. I think in the past, we had done that, but I think we could do probably a better job in the beginning stages of the budget talks. That's why I want to have this discussion. Hey, how much money did we have left over from FY25? What are we going to use it for? There's a lot of projects out there, that we didn't move forward in FY26. We didn't move the fleet and facilities building forward. We didn't, we have a $250 million North RO plant that we know we have to build in the next 5 years. So there's things that we need as far as our infrastructure is concerned that we might be able to use some of these monies for.
All righty. We ran a little bit over, but is there anything else you want anyone to know about as far as tomorrow's busy day, 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock for the city council?
Yeah, just tune in. Tomorrow's our last meeting, of the year, and just tune in. And I know you guys do a great job trying to get the message out to the community, so they're informed. I think one of the things, one of your passions is to make sure that the community's informed with the factual information. And I think your platform does a good job at that, but making sure that the community is engaged. Just because you read it on social media doesn't make it right or doesn't make it factual. So really be engaged, watch the meetings, and see what we're doing as a city council. Reach out to your city council members, I think is extremely important. But on a side note, I know we're going into the holiday season. I know that holidays is mainly for families, for friends in our community. So hopefully we all come together as a community, enjoy your family, your friends during the holiday season. And I just want to wish everybody a happy holiday.
All right, Mayor, thanks very much for your time. And we will see you tomorrow at City Hall at 1 o'clock.
All right. Sounds great.
All right,
Thanks for having me.
Mayor John Gunter of Cape Coral, everybody. And this is going to be a bi-weekly show for now. The second episode will be on Monday, 2 weeks from yesterday. And we will, of course, have the city council meeting live tomorrow on our platforms at 1 o'clock. And that's when the council will consider the Charter Review Commission's points and whether or not they'll move them forward. And then at 4 o'clock is their regular meeting. So a busy day tomorrow for the city council. And for us, Friday, we'll be back at Hooked Island Grill with council member Lori Lehman. And then 1 week from Friday, we will have Lee County Commissioner Brian Hammond. Thank you all for tuning in tonight, and you have a great night. We will see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.